Let's go to our third installment here of today's farm features. I'm calling them the Strong Farm.
Yeah.
Seattle Mariners. All five of their 2026 top five have made it into MLB's top 100 prospects, and all five are also in their own respective top 10 prospect rankings at their position. So we'll start with Colt Emerson. Shortstop, MLB's ninth overall prospect, seventh overall shortstop. And if this doesn't tell you how strong the shortstop position is in minor league baseball, I'm not entirely sure what will. Again, he's the ninth overall prospect in baseball. And he's the seventh shortstop, which that means there are six other shortstops in the top 10, which is just unheard of. He's going on 21 years old, and there's a better than zero chance he'll be in Major League Baseball by season's end. And he played his first full season of professional action in 2025 and 130 games at High A Everett, Double A Arkansas, and that 6-game stint at Triple A Tacoma, which we'll talk about in just a second. He slashed 285, 383, 458. That's an 841 OPS, 144 hits, 28 doubles, 6 triples, 16 homers, 78 RBIs, only 105 strikeouts in 130 games. He's a pure hitter with impressive plate vision, solid defense, and that's basically the perfect recipe for a franchise shortstop. And just those 6 games from AAA Tacoma, he went 8 for 22 with an 1171 OPS, 2 homers, 2 doubles, 9 RBIs. Projected debut for him is 2026. I'm going to ride 2026 as well. The infield currently for the Mariners feels full. They just brought in Brendan Donovan in a trade with the Cardinals. They've had longtime shortstop JP Crawford, and they called up last year, and he's still there right now, at second base, another former top shortstop prospect in the system in Cole Young. But JP Crawford's never been known as a good hitter. And Cole Young was pretty bad at the plate in his rookie season. Colt Emerson continues to find offensive success at AAA. I think there's justification in bringing him up to at least be the every other day starter at either shortstop or second base, because the defense is comparable to both Cole Young and JP Crawford. And JP Crawford's a really good defender in years past, very flashy guy at shortstop. I could see Colt Emerson slowly overtaking a role from JP Crawford or even Cole Young. And remember, I did say earlier in this episode that the name of the game for the Seattle Mariners this year is addition by subtraction. JP Crawford's on an expiring deal. That's all I'm going to say about that now. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. Kade Anderson at number 2. I'm going to keep it short and sweet with him. Left-handed pitcher, MLB's 21st overall prospect, 3rd overall lefty. I've loved this guy since he got selected 3rd overall in last year's draft. He didn't pitch professionally in 2025, which is a trend that's becoming more and more common, especially with the top dogs in an MLB draft. His college numbers, though, across 2024 and 2025 at LSU, again, he turned from being a stretch reliever and spot starter into the best pitcher in college baseball, according to some scouts. 37 games, 28 of them starts, a 16-3 win-loss record, 3.38 ERA in 157 and a third innings pitched. He had only 55 walks to, and you're going to hear this number right, I'm not mistaken here, 239 strikeouts in 157 innings pitched in college baseball. Woof. A 1.169 whip as well, 13.7 Ks per 9. In just his 2025 season, he was 12-1 with a 3.18 ERA, 119 of those 157 and a third innings pitched. Did give up 16 homers. That's not ideal. But he was also playing in the SEC, which is the mecca of college baseball. 35 walks to, in just those 119 innings, 180 strikeouts with a 1.059 whip. Projected debuts 2027. I'm going to go a little backwards from what some might think for Kade Anderson going forward. I think it's 2028. And the reason for this is obviously, number one, he is yet to pitch professionally. So that still has to happen. His pro debut, whether it's at the Arizona Complex League, whether it's with Single A Modesto, or it's with High A Everett, whoever it's with, he still needs to have his pro debut. The jump is not going to be easy for a guy coming out of college going to minor league baseball. It never is. It never will be. So Kade Anderson's got to get adjusted to that. Plus, reason number 2 here, Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, and George Kirby all have arbitration years left. Luis Castillo is under a guaranteed deal for 3 more years. There is zero need to rush Kade Anderson if you're the Seattle Mariners. There is no need to get him to go up higher than he really needs to be. I think he'll start the year at high A just because of how electric his stuff is. But eventually, we're going to need to see some more fastball development, at least in the speed department. The other stuff, his movement's great, his control's great. Kade Anderson, going to be a little longer than some people might expect, I believe, before he debuts. Ryan Sloan is their number 3 prospect, a right-handed pitcher, Major League Baseball's 33rd prospect, and he's the number 6 right-handed pitcher in the top 10 righties. 60 grades on his fastball and changeup, 55 on his slider and his control, and he's got good physicals too at 6'5", 220. He's a little taller and a little bit more huskier than Kade Anderson, who's at 6'2", 180. Sloan did make his pro debut, but again, the trend here, he got drafted in 2024, didn't pitch professionally after being drafted. So his first real season of professional baseball was last year, 2025. He had 21 games started at single A and high A, 82 innings, a 2-4 record, which again, win-loss is kind of irrelevant nowadays, but it's still important to include it. Is he getting wins, or is he going out there and the team's not performing? A 3.73 ERA for Ryan Sloan last year in those 21 games. 80 hits, only allowed 5 homers in 82 innings. 15 walks to 90 strikeouts. This is another strikeout demon. This is a guy who's got great control, very deceptive stuff. Did have a fairly high batting average against at 256, but still a 1.16 whip. Projected debut for Ryan Sloan is 2028. I'm, again, like Kade Anderson, I'm going to go a year behind that. Despite the success that he's seen so far, I think it's going to be 2029. He's also a year younger than Kade Anderson. Kade Anderson has the hype. If he performs, he'll debut before Ryan Sloan. This is also, again, like I just said, the same situation. The Mariners starting rotation is all under control for multiple years past 2026. There's no need to rush Ryan Sloan either. I'd also like to see him develop one more pitch. He's got a 3-pitch mix. I'd like to see him get at least another one. Otherwise, if he's going to ride the 3-pitch mix, that's fine. I would just feel more comfortable with you as a bullpen arm. And because of the speed he's got on his fastball, I think he'd be more of a high leverage bullpen arm too.
Hey everyone, I've got some breaking news in the baseball world for you. Minor League Minute is teaming up with JustBats.com for the whole month of March. Spring is just around the corner, and I know you or someone you care about needs a bat. Today, let's talk about the ability to have custom engravings. Nothing says owning equipment like having your own name or your own message etched into it. And that's what this team can provide for your team. JustBats.com is full of people who love baseball just like you and I. Head to the link in the description to learn more about JustBats.com today.
Number 4, this is probably my favorite prospect out of their top 5 because Lazaro Montes mashes. He's an outfielder, and he's going to be a corner outfielder. MLB's 43rd overall prospect, 9th overall outfielder, which again tells you a lot about the outfield depth in minor league baseball. He's a big, tall lefty bat, 6'5", but he's only got a 35 grade run tool, which is why he's kind of stuck to the corners or being a DH. And it's not like the Houseway Apollo run grade where it's very low, but he still steals 25 to 30 bags a season. Montes is just slow. It's simply put, not being disrespectful, he is just slow. 65 grade power, though, is clearly his best attribute. He also has 50 grade hit and arm tools, and he's going to be only 21 years old for the entirety of the 2026 season. Still a very young guy. He's still got to fill out just a little. I'd like to see him add maybe 10 to 15 pounds of muscle this season, and he might turn into the second coming of Yordan Alvarez. That's who I would give him as his pro player comp right now, because Alvarez has that size. Alvarez was also, he's not the quickest guy. He's kind of stuck to the corners in the outfield. And the defense for both of them just isn't, like, turning any heads, I guess is the right way to put it. 2025 numbers, 131 games with high A Everett and double A Arkansas. 241, 354, 504 slash line, 500 slugging, 858 OPS. He got almost 120 hits, 19 doubles, 32 homers, which is a career high for one season to this point for Lazaro Montes, 89 RBIs, 89 walks as well, but he struck out 169 times, which is unfortunately also a career high to this point for a single season for Lazaro Montes. So the strikeouts are a problem, but he's going to figure that out slowly but surely. Again, he's very young. He's got a lot of time. Projected debuts 2027. I'm going to roll 2028, but I could see it being sooner because of the free agent situation with the Mariners outfielders currently. He's a non-roster invitee this year, but there's also a bunch of dudes from AAA, like Spencer Packard, who had a very, very good season last year. Brennan Davis, former Cubs third overall prospect, spent all of 2025, was pretty productive with the Yankees AA and AAA teams. Victor Labrada and other top outfield prospects in Jared Sundstrom and Johnny Farmello are also non-roster invitees this year. So there's a slight little pecking order here. Montes is kind of middle of the road in that order. If he's got a good spring this year, we might see him September 2027. If it's rough, we'll see him September 2028 for sure. Probably a little sooner than that. Either way, I see him either leading or being at least top 10 in home runs in AA this year. That guy mashes. Great power in that stick. At number 5, this is where the addition by subtraction comes in. Michael Arroyo, second baseman, MLB's 67th overall prospect, and he's second baseman number 2. He's got 50 to 55 grades across the board. Very balanced player, despite the lack in physicals. He's 5'10", 160, so he's not the biggest guy in the world. He joined the Mariners 2022. He was part of that international signing period. Same signing period as the previously mentioned prospect, Lazaro Montes. Second base, just in general, is not very deep in minor league baseball outside of Travis Bazzana. So it's going to be a fun name to keep tabs on as we get closer to July. And I think the trade deadline this year is August 3rd. I think it's a pretty late trade deadline this year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be a fun name to pay attention to because there's a few things I could see Seattle doing if they really want to try and get to that first World Series in franchise history. I could see Seattle doing a multitude of things. One of them might be moving this guy. He's got 2020 potential, both with doubles and homers and with homers and stolen bases. His 2025 numbers, 121 games with high A and double A. There was a slight dip below his 2024 production, he was very good in 2024, but he was still solid in 2025. He had a 262, 401, 433 slash. That's an 834 OPS, 118 hits, 24 doubles. He had 1 triple, which was down from 7 the year before. Excuse me. 17 homers, 54 RBIs, 69 walks, and 104 strikeouts, which is way down from the 136 he racked up in 2024. So the eye is getting better. The plate discipline is getting better. He has also had only 12 stolen bases, which was down from 18 in 2024. Projected debut is 2026. Here's what I'm thinking. If he is still a Mariner post-trade deadline, it's 2027. If he's not a Mariner, I could actually see it being later. I think one of Michael Arroyo or Cole Young could or should be moved at the 2026 deadline if the Mariners are serious about trying to get to a World Series. What do you guys think?
I would say so. And I agree with you. This kind of stems into Drew's question as well in our chat. Drew Best just said, can they afford to make another splash to solidify themselves as a surefire contender as a whole? Or is Donovan enough, referring to Brendan Donovan, the trade just a couple of weeks ago? I think this team's ready to contend. I was being young and dumb and saying last year they're going to win the World Series, and obviously the Dodgers exist, so that's something you have to consider anytime you make a claim like that. But look, baseball, regardless of how much it evolves, and this applies to your question too, is if you can hit the ball 1 out of every 3 times, you're a Hall of Famer. It is pitcher-led. It is pitcher advantageous. And that starting rotation that you just said, Sam, I'd put it up there depth-wise with anybody. Not extremely top-heavy, right? When George Kirby's on, I think he's an awesome ace. Brian Wu kind of developed into that last year. Both guys just simply do not walk opposing hitters. And then you have these other guys like Taylor Dollard, or like you have Ryan Sloan coming up. There is absolutely no rush to push their development and get them into the majors when you have as stacked of a rotation as you do, and you have that control. So answering your question somewhat and parlaying it into my answer for Drew's, I think they are a contender. I think you actually need the guys currently in the clubhouse, like a Julio Rodriguez, to show up and be the MVP we know he can be. If everybody gets 5% better, why can't they win the whole thing? If the Dodgers don't exist, of course.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the Mariners, the rotation is there, the offense is there. I think they show that they can do a lot of different things offensively, mash the ball, get on base. I think Donovan really helps that and set up their power department. Yeah, I think one name, and Sam, excellent job kind of listing out some names here as well. I think one name, take a look at Brian Abreu. I love that. I know the Astros wouldn't want to do that, but I mean, what really let them go against the Blue Jays? That depth in the bullpen, outside of Andres Munoz, you add another great arm back there, like an Abreu, like a Chapman in that scenario that can really solidify. I mean, that's the one kind of weakness I'm looking at for them right now. So yeah, I think that they want to be aggressive. They want to solidify themselves in an open American league, which it's a few teams there, but I mean, it's a league to take, and they can take it with a move like that.
Yeah, and I do have some names to at least watch that I could see Seattle being interested in, and I could see a package of Michael Arroyo and my diamond in the rough, and next guy Taylor Dollard that we'll talk about in a second, as being kind of like the front runners, or Cole Young and Taylor Dollard, or Cole Young and another pitcher like Teddy McGraw, so on and so forth, to go after and Aroldis Chapman, who's on an expiring deal. And again, he's an ageless wonder. He just seemingly does not want to let his career die out yet. If he's having a strong year and Boston's not competing for whatever reason, maybe Boston looks to reload, right? Brian Abreu, it would be kind of tough for an in-division trade, especially with Houston. But again, is Houston going to be competitive again this year, or are they going to be kind of middle of the road like they were this past season? Brian Abreu could be available because he's also on an expiring deal. Some other guys on expiring deals I could see Seattle going after to fulfill some lack of offense, which there really isn't much, but there is on the middle infield and at the DH spot. Who are you going to have DH? Gleyber Torres is a guy I could see. Jorge Soler. Jorge Soler's had some postseason heroics in the past. I could see it again. Jazz Chisholm, if the Yankees are struggling, or if the Yankees want to try and retool with a Cole Young instead, a cheaper option at second base and a guy that they can kind of mold into who they want to be. Jazz Chisholm could be on the move. And the Cubs, Nico Horner. This is an addition by subtraction move too. The Cubs want to be competitive for longer. Why not make Nico Horner's expiring deal worth your while instead of letting him walk? Because the Cubs like to act like a small market team, yep, where they feel like their wallet's strapped. So are they really going to try and re-sign Nico Horner this offseason? And if not, if the answer is no, Seattle is a team I could 1000% see being in on Nico Horner. Let's get into my diamond in the rough with Taylor Dollard. This is going to be, I want to say, the first in our now 28 farm features that has had a diamond in the rough that is unranked in a top 30. Taylor Dollard was not ranked in 2025. He's 26 years old now, and he fell out of Seattle's top 30 this past year. He was number 21 in 2024 and number 9 in the 2023 season. He tore his shoulder labrum in 2023 and missed all of 2024 season to that injury, among other injuries as well. This guy's not a velo guy. He reminds me of a step above, at least in the velo department, a step above Zach Davies, where he relies a lot on movement and location. He's got a fastball that averages around 91 miles an hour. The slider's in the upper 70s, excuse me. And his curveball is a very, very much almost a 12-6 curveball. And he's got a solid changeup as well. So a 4-pitch mix. Not a lot of velocity, but he's got a lot of movement. He's got a lot of tail to that changeup and a lot of cut to that slider. 2025 numbers at high A Everett. He was, again, first season back since 2023. He only pitched in 13 games, 12 of them starts. He got 55 innings, which is averaging just a hair above 4 innings per outing, which, again, coming off a very severe injury like a shoulder labrum tear, that's to be expected. 3-3 win-loss, 3.90 ERA, 59 hits allowed. He did give up 11 homers, but again, trying to get reacclimated to professional ball. 13 walks, 37 Ks, a 1.3 whip. Projected debut is 2026. That is his projected debut. But if he's still a Mariner, I'm not sure. The right answer here is I don't know if he's going to debut at all if he's still a Mariner. If he's not with them, I could see some team that's looking to get a couple spot starts out of a guy, call him up in 2027. Again, I need him to get used to higher level minor league competition again, but the reality of the situation is that he's in the exact same boat as Kade Anderson and Ryan Sloan, just way further down the pecking order. But I think he's a name that might catch a GM's eye as a reclamation project, or again, as a spot starter late in the year to get some innings, to eat some innings up for an injury-riddled team. Or again, reclamation project and an opportunity to provide for a big league staff in a year or so. The strength here, the main strength for Seattle's rotation, plenty of starting pitching depth, and it's a lot of soon-to-be pro-ready arms. Their AAA staff is headlined by Randy Dobnak and Dane Dunning right now, but below AAA, they've got guys like Teddy McGraw, Michael Morales, Sloan, and Anderson that are all non-roster invitees this spring. So they're definitely going to get us a better look and get some action and a better understanding of this team's starting pitching depth the further down the system they go. And again, some of these guys might become expendable for a team that wants to get to that World Series that feels like they're in a competitive era of their franchise, and probably the most competitive part or most competitive era of this franchise's history outside of 2001. I could definitely see them moving maybe a couple of these arms to get a big bat or to get a big bullpen guy. Weakness, I think this is also a first. It's the age factor of their top 30. Their top 10 is all 21 years old or younger. But 11 through 30 contains 9 players that are 24 and older, including 4 26-year-olds, which Taylor Dollard is one of them. So the Mariners farm is not very young outside of the top 10. It's very top heavy in terms of age. And at some point, if you don't win the World Series again this year, maybe the direction changes where you offload, again, addition by subtraction. Maybe you offload to help boost your farm system a little bit while still maintaining competition at the big league level.